There once lived an old farmer in a quiet little village, nestled between green hills and wide open skies. He owned a single horse and a small field, and each morning he woke with the sun to tend his crops, never rushing, never complaining. His life was simple, yet steady, and though he had little, he never seemed to lack anything. One day, his only horse broke loose and ran away into the forest. Hearing the news, the neighbors came to console him. "What terrible luck," they said. "Now how will you plow your field?" But the old farmer only replied, "Maybe so, maybe not." 3 days later, the horse returned, bringing with it 3 wild horses from the mountains. The neighbors rushed over again, this time with smiles. "How fortunate you are," they exclaimed. But again, the old man simply said, "Maybe so, maybe not." Soon after, the farmer's only son tried to ride one of the wild horses. He was thrown to the ground and broke his leg badly. The villagers came shaking their heads. "Such misfortune so soon after your good luck," they said. But once more the farmer said, "Maybe so, maybe not." A week later, soldiers marched into the village. A war had broken out, and all young men were being drafted. But when they saw the farmer's son limping on a crutch, they left him behind. The villagers whispered again, "Your son's injury saved his life. What a blessing." And again, the farmer softly said, "Maybe so, maybe not." Then, just as the season was turning, a violent storm struck the valley. Rain fell for days, winds roared, crops were destroyed, roofs torn from homes. The farmer's field, his life's work, was nearly swept away. And yet, while others screamed at the skies, the old man stood quietly at the edge of his field, his face wet not just from the rain but from time itself. Not in sadness, but in stillness, because he had learned something very few understand, that life is not something we control. It is something we learn to walk with, through calm, through chaos, through the unknown. The next morning, as the clouds cleared, the farmer knelt in the muddy earth. With his weathered hands, he touched the soil gently and saw, buried deep in the dirt, the tiniest green sprout breaking through. And he whispered to no one in particular, "Maybe so, maybe not. But today I begin again." We cannot stop the storms, but we can choose how we stand in the rain. And sometimes, when everything seems to fall apart, life is simply teaching us to begin again. This story touched something in your heart. Consider subscribing to the channel. Let's keep sharing these quiet stories, carrying ancient wisdom into modern lives. Thank you for watching and for staying until the end.